Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm gonna share more about my stolen Ninja H2, what I have done after the bike was stolen, and through this video, maybe I will address a little bit about the flaws of the system um, from the perspective of the building management and Vicpol itself. This is nothing against the management side or the Vicpol side, but just purely from my personal experience, how it had been. So hopefully you will also get to see my side of the story, or just simply the perspective of a victim of a stolen vehicle. But if you also would like to know more about this, what had happened and how it had happened to the bike, you can also watch the previous video that I uploaded after this. So first of all, I parked my bike in the basement, and when the friend's bike of a mutual friend that gets to be stolen, um, I was curious and I asked her how did they breaking in the basement car park, because in my thought, um, most likely maybe they waited and then they followed in other tenants when they maybe go down the lift, the elevator, or through the main gate. But that wasn't the way. Well, how they broken in into the basement car park. They actually entered through the basement car park via a broken fire door. But of course, they were the one who broke the fire door. So on the day that my bike was stolen, what most people will do is to call the police and lodge a report. So that was the very first thing I did. And then after that, what I have done was I actually go on ChatGPT and asked what would most people do in this case. This could be very controversial because maybe I think the people are divided to two sides. Some are very against AI and some are not. For me, I guess I'm just neutral about it. And AI has been helpful in this case in terms of gathering all the informations and summarizing it for me in terms of what to do after my bike get to be stolen. So in that sense, it has been very helpful. Of course, we shouldn't rely on AI for everything, but in this case, it was very helpful in this sense. So after I lodged the police report, what I did was I went on AI. I asked, what should I do in this case? So then it suggested that I should explore the neighborhood. Perhaps the bike would still be nearby. So I did also uh, watch this on one of the YouTube videos, because one of the channel that I follow, actually the YouTuber is posting about stolen vehicles and how the the criminals usually operate. And one of the things they usually do is they parked or dropped off the stolen vehicle in a random locations, and waiting for a cool down period. So what is this cool down period is that in case the stolen vehicle has a tracker installed. So if they cannot find the tracker, they will have this cool down location and period, whereas they just dump the vehicle there for a few days or maybe even a few weeks just to see if anyone shows up to claim the vehicle. Then they will know whether there's a tracker on the vehicle or not. But of course, if they manage to find the tracker, then they will just get rid of the tracker and they will bring the vehicle to wherever they're supposed to bring it to. So that's why after I went on the chat, the AI, that was also suggested that I should look around the neighborhood to see if there is any uh, like cool down location that my bike perhaps have been dropped off or just parked there. So that's what I did, and I tried to walk around and also remembering how the thieves broken into the apartment. I was also trying to look for that fire door at the same time. So of course, not surprising, I found the fire door still broken. That means ever since perhaps maybe the first break-in, they haven't fixed the fire door at all. I did also talk to the lady whose Aprilia was stolen, and she said the building management was still trying to get the fire door fixed, and also they're still trying to get more CCTVs to be installed. And then my question is, why has it been taken so long? Because if they have been done long time ago, then perhaps my bike wouldn't have been stolen. But again, that's a what if. Then in regards to this, what I would like to see achieve or change or improve, if only this system could have been more streamlined. Because what exactly happened was the building management, it's not their fault. They're just trying to wait for the approval from the owner of the apartment in order to get these things done. So in order to install the CCTVs, they need the approval of the owner. In order to fix the fire door, they need the approval of the owner. I mean, it makes sense, but it could have been much simpler or streamlined. Regardless of the approval of the owner or not, they need to fix the fire door, isn't it? In terms of the CCTV, yes, fair enough. Then maybe they actually need to wait for the owner to install new ones. But if it is a broken fire door, fix it as soon as possible, because not just to prevent break-ins, a fire door is supposed to prevent fire from spreading. Then what can a broken one actually do in that case? Because even during my stay in the apartment, they have been almost fire alarm every single month, and sometimes 2 times a month. I don't know what's happening in the apartment, but there's just so many fire alarms going off. So yeah, a broken fire door is supposed to be fixed ASAP, but to know that it wasn't fixed at all, and it could have been the reason that my bike was stolen that much easier, is just, yeah, there needs to be change and improvement to the system. I did also go to the building management and ask for CCTV footage, hoping to find some evidence of maybe a car plate or the person who stolen the bike, but they were unable to provide me any footages, saying they will provide the evidence directly to the police. Now again, I don't know for sure. Perhaps this is another flaw of the system, because the lady who got her Aprilia stolen, he managed to get uh, a screenshot of the footage of her thief, including the Nissan Patrol that they've driven all the way to the apartment to take up the bike. So I don't know. He even got the face of the thieves in the footage together with the plate of the Nissan Patrol. So I don't know what's the difference here. How did she get those footages, but I wasn't allowed to access any one of them? But regardless, that's just what I experienced in my event. Back to the story, I was scouring around hoping to find my bike, but sadly, I didn't get to see my bike, so I was quite frustrated and saddened, of course, because the lady actually have two bikes in the apartment. One was the Aprilia that gets to be stolen, and the other one was the Yamaha that didn't get to be stolen. Well, they tried to steal it, but they weren't successful. So what actually happened was, because she told me she took up the plug or a fuse, something like that, and because of that, they couldn't start the bike even if they tried to jump start it. And due to them not being able to jump start it, they actually hidden the bike in one of the corner in the basement, which that's the another issue with design or the layout itself. They shouldn't have a car park that is full of hiding spots, because even the building management, when I talked to him, he said that he himself personally uh, run surveillance, and he also tried to do security checks on the basement car park. When his security wasn't working on the day, he himself even come personally to check in the basement. And he told me that there are just too many places to hide in that car park, that even though they tried their best to do security checks around the basement, sometimes it's hard because the thieves, they just easily hide everywhere. So yeah, her Yamaha was hidden in a corner, which she eventually found it. So that's glad news for her. But with that said, I was very sad because I was hoping that I could have just find my bike like that. So, but I didn't. But I did my best, and due to that, I try to come at peace with myself because I have done my best. At least there should be no regret for me later on. So I know it's not easy to accept, but at least for myself, for my mental health sake, that's how I try to come at peace with it. I already did what I could, so whether I get to retrieve the bike or not, I should have no regret. So I was waiting for the police to come back at me while following the instructions of ChatGPT. I tried to look around myself. I even posted on Facebook groups about stolen vehicles, hoping that anyone, if they have seen it, they could have also reported back to me to help the retrieval of the bike so much more higher and possible. But no news so far. And but on the second day, the police actually called me up. So I was quite surprised and happy at the same time, because when I kept this constant communication with the lady, and she said there was still no news about her Aprilia. So when the police called me, I was happy because I thought maybe my bike was found. But it was just an empty surprise. They were just calling so that they can come and check the spot and to take some photos, and that's it. I thought they could have at least come and take the fingerprints or something, but they didn't. They just come here, take photos, and pretty much that's it. They didn't even ask me many questions. So in that case, I would have questioned the practices of the VICPOL. Again, I'm not trying that. I'm not trying to say that every single one of them is the same, but at least in that instances, in that situation, I would question why didn't they do more. So this is not only in regards to my case, because I received the same uh, in a way complaints from the lady, because she was also angry that uh, there was no progress to her case at all. And she even told me that there was a situation where she came into a hit and run situation on Westgate Bridge, and there was even footages from the camera on the bridge, but they didn't they didn't catch the person at all. And even when the mother tried to approach the police, they say this shouldn't be a police case, but this is more of a personal case. So they should have sorted out with the person who hit her. So again, this is just the flaw of the system, I guess. Again, I don't mean to say the whole Vic poll is bad or every police is like that, but just situational based. That's at least our experience. And I still talk to her from time to time, and that is, as of today, there is almost 3 months, 3 months after her Aprilia was stolen, and there was still no news of it. And in fact, she herself has more information about it. She told me she knew that the bike was seen in Bendigo. Sorry, I can't remember whether it was Bendigo or Ballarat, but her bike was seen there. And she also told me she found out that the person, I don't know whether the person is the one who's stolen the bike or not, but there is always someone who has ridden her bike into the city almost every day. So going there into the city in the early morning and leaving it around the evening time, kind of like a full-time work or a uni student. That's why they're going into city on a regular basis around the same time. So again, regardless of what the rider does there in real life, we don't know. But at least if she gets all this information, then police could have had them and could have, or at least if she told the police, then they could have done something about it. I'm not sure if anything has been done about it, but as of now, she still hasn't gotten the bike back. So that means, I don't know. I can't say anything. I just, in that perspective, I just wish that the Vic poll could have done something more. But regardless, I mentioned this is nothing against them. This is just a situational based. I'm just trying to analyze the situation by situation basis, not trying to criticize them, because they're the side on the second day. So the next day they came to take photos, and on the second, I can't remember whether it's the second or third day after the H2 gets to be stolen, I received another phone call, and it was good news, because when I lodged the report, there was a follow-up call to finalize the report. And then I remember the police officer was asking if ever my bike was found, would I want them to tow the bike straight away at my expense. So I agreed, because if they didn't tow the bike right away, maybe there would be more time for the thief to move it again. So that's why I agreed. Tow the bike once they find it at my expense. I don't mind. At least I get to retrieve the bike. And so first thing was that phone call to finalize the report, and then another phone call the next day to come to inspect the crime scene, but actually just to take photo. And then the second day, so the next day after the stolen case, and then the second day after that, the second or the third day, another phone call. Good news this time, to inform me that my bike has been found in a garage in Melton South. So I don't know how they find it. Maybe they trace the bike through the CCTV to up until Melton South, and then there is a tag location, maybe like a suspect on the list, so they go through it. I don't know, but at least in this case, it was good news, and it showed that the Vic poll can be efficient in what they do. So that's why I'm saying I'm not against them. I'm not criticizing them in any way, but just based on different situation and circumstances, it felt like they could have done more in some case, because the lady even had some evidence from the crime, waiting for them to come and collect for fingerprint scanning, but they didn't want to. I even asked the police who came to the crime scene if they want to take the evidence. They also rejected it. They say they talked to her already. So maybe they were not the one who handled her case, so which is why they didn't want to take it. I don't know. But regardless, if they weren't the one handling the case, maybe they could have at least passed it to the one in charge. But again, at least when I received the last phone call, it proved that it depends. Sometimes they can be good or efficient in what they do, sometimes not. But let me know what do you think, or let me know your experience and your perspective during any crime that you encountered. So they said they found my bike in Melton South. Great news for me. They towed it right away. So yeah. But regardless, even I received that great news, I was still anxious because I didn't know what condition my H2 was in, and that itself, that anxiety is big, because I was hoping that it is in a very good condition, although unlikely, because I heard many stories where usually stolen vehicles are not found in good condition, like not at all. As in bike perspective, usually it would be trash. They would have do burnout with it, things broken, things missing. Maybe it's the same for cars, but that's for bike. So I was very anxious, and even the police who had a follow-up calls with me, they told me, oh, the bike was pretty effed. The bike was pretty effed up. So that didn't help. So I got more anxious, imagining, can the bike still go back to the street? Can the bike still run? Would the bike therefore be disposed of? Can I actually still keep the bike? There's so many questions that just come into my mind. So that was during and after the bike was recovered. But regardless, I try to calm myself as much as possible, because even though these invasive thoughts keep coming in my mind, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do until I personally see the bike and then only decide what to do with it. So with that said, I decided not to think too much about it until the police cleared it for pickup, and then I will drop it off to the mechanic to have a look finally at my H2. So that was the moment that my anxiety, whether it will go higher or it will be resolved, I'll leave that to the next time. So if you enjoyed the content so far, I hope you will press the like button, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and ride safe out there. Peace. I'll see you.